All right, guys, it's Super Bowl weekend. We're going to break down the matchup for you, some statistics going into the game, and my predictions, some prop lines, everything you need to know to get you guys ready to watch the Super Bowl, get you guys up to date if you've not been caught up, or if you're a casual even, or if you're a guy that watches football regular, this is for you because it'll get you guys caught up on all the details, where the Super Bowl is, potential outcome, bold predictions, everything here for you guys to cover for you in this very short video, jam-packed with information. So Super Bowl prediction, Super Bowl breakdown. We're going to talk about it all right here, right now. If you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe. And in the comments below, let me know who you think is going to win this Super Bowl here in 2023. I'm excited. It's going to be an entertaining one, to say the least. And let's dive into it. Now, if you guys watched the playoff games, there was some controversy whether the Chiefs should be here or not. I've been talking to a lot of people, and there's a lot of people saying that the fix was definitely in. Now, if you're a Chiefs fan, you probably disagree and are saying, no, definitely not. They deserve to be here. Now, if I'm just a fan of nobody, I think the fix was definitely in. There was a lot of suspect and questionable calls in that playoff game between the Bengals and the Chiefs. If you watch the game, you could see the holding call near the end. It was just crazy, man. I mean, if you look at it, the O-line guy for the Chiefs was holding the pass rush there, which led to a penalty at the end, the field goal, the Chiefs win. It should have been called. There should have been a holding call against the Chiefs again at the end of that game. There's so many other questionable calls. They had a redo of a third down. It was crazy. Go watch the game if you haven't, or go watch the highlights. Either way, the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, and that's the bottom line. So let's break this down here for you, and I'll tell you who I think is going to win. Now, this is a Kelsey Bowl. So, again, a great storyline. Two guys that have recently got a new podcast out. I don't know how long the podcast has been out, but it's a top podcast now, powered by the NFL, obviously. Years ago, there was the Harbaugh Bowl, which I called because it sounded like a great, finish. There was the Ravens versus the 49ers, the head coaches, the Harbaughs. In the Super Bowl, I called the Peyton Manning win with the Broncos that year before he retired. I called the Ray Lewis win. This year is a little tough, okay? Maybe you're building up, Hurts as the new face of the NFL. We kind of know that Kelsey's the face of the NFL. Kelsey, yeah. But Pat Mahomes is the face of the NFL. But now we want to build up Hurts, right? Young quarterback, really tore it up in the league this year. Maybe that's where it's going. But anyway, let's break it before we get into who's going to win this, okay? Let's break it down, okay? We got the Chiefs and the Eagles, both 16-3 win-loss ratios, if you include all the games, including playoffs, okay? 14-3 in the regular season. Very similar when it comes to win-loss, okay? Game is going to be played at the State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Attendance should be around 63,381, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on February 12th. Just some quick general stats here on the game if you guys aren't aware, right? Now, the Chiefs are actually the underdog going into this at the time of this recording. I'm recording this on Friday, early morning. They are a 1.5-point underdog. Eagles, 1.5-point favorite. From what I understand, when the spread came out initially, the Chiefs were favored by 2.5, and then it changed immediately. The Eagles are now the favorite by 1.5, okay? Eagles are the favorite. The over-under, this game, over-under, 51 points. So that's combined points. Combined, I see this potentially going over 51 points, predicated on the offenses that you're looking at. Now, the defense is going to be the big key factor in this game, which, again, we'll talk about in a moment, okay? Now, couple quick odd bets. I won't get into too much about it here. Some odd props here. We got Pat Mahomes passing. These odds could change and it varies on where you're looking. But Pat Mahomes set for passing at 292.5. Jalen Hurts set for passing at 238.5. Okay. Travis Kelce, the top target there for Pat Mahomes, set to have at least 79.5 receiving yards. There could be an over-under there. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, the top receivers for the Eagles, set to have at least 60 receiving yards apiece. Again, that's where we're at. Now, Miles Sanders, going to be the main running back potentially there, obviously, for the Eagles. We got Pacheco there for the Chiefs. Again, this is going to vary here in regards to what we're going to be expecting for them. But I think the books have Miles Sanders for around 62.8 rushing yards, okay? But again, I'm not relying on Pacheco or Miles Sanders to carry the load. I think there's going to be a lot of passing. I think Hurts is going to be running a lot on the ground. We know that, right? If you look at his stats on the season, he runs a lot. Now, if you look at the rushing yards versus Mahomes and Hurts on the season, 13 rushing touchdowns. Hurts had 13 rushing touchdowns compared to Pat Mahomes and the 4 rushing touchdowns, all right? Passing yards go to Mahomes, 52.50 on the season, and we have Hurts with 37.01, all right? 41 touchdowns on the year for Mahomes, 22 for Hurts, okay? So, again, the way I'm looking at it, I'm thinking about the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be going to Kelsey a lot, and this is, I think, the key factor. You really have to stop the Kelsey pass. That's it. The Kelsey pass has to stop. They have to neutralize Travis Kelsey, and I cannot emphasize enough how much this guy gets open, how much yards he gets, how much of a clutch and a crush he is to Pat Mahomes. Okay, so again, when we're talking about how this is gonna play out, Hurts, I think, has better options at receiver, right? He got Smith and Brown. Mahomes doesn't have that luxury. He's got Juju as the top wide receiver, but it was Kelsey that was the top receiver, even though he's a tight end with 152 targets on the year. Juju, 101 receiving targets, okay? 12 touchdowns for Kelsey on the season. So when you're looking at the red zone, when you're looking at a guy that's going to be getting the ball a lot, it's going to be Kelsey. I think that's going to be a huge factor when you're looking at the offenses, is you really have to neutralize Kelsey the best you can. Now, if you play a zone defense, that could be a little bit light. It's going to give him enough room to get free and pick up the yardage. You might want to cover him. If you double team him, you've got some receiving options, but the receiving options, Juju is banged up. Tony, these guys were all banged up. Hardman, banged up receiving core. Even if the ones that are playing are going to be pretty much banged up, they're not going to be 100%. And then you're dealing with Mahomes being banged up, right? So is he going to be ultra elusive? Probably not. He's not going to be the same Mahomes. He's going to have to drop back. Is he going to, with the pass rush, and you're going to get that with the Eagles, you're going to get a lot of rush. And that's where I think the difference is going to be in this game. You got to pressure Pat Mahomes. You got to keep him on his toes. And we know he was banged up with the ankle. So now you've got a banged up Mahomes who isn't going to be 100. Maybe he's 99%. Maybe he's 95. But I still think that injury from weeks ago is going to linger and going to limit some of his mobility. So keep the pressure on Mahomes, neutralize Kelsey to the best of your ability, and I think the Eagles are going to edge them out. Then you look at defensive side of the ball. I think the Eagles get the advantage there defensively, and I think that's going to be the difference. So again, guys, in the comments, let me know what you think. I broke down a lot of stats here, and I think this is what we're thinking here, right? And that's why the Eagles are the favorites, kind of the breakdown that I have. Now, when you're looking at experience, you got Andy Reid, who was the Eagles coach in 99, who was a big part of, McNabb's hiring and all that. Reid was a big part of that team back in 99, I think to 2004, right? So you've got the experience of the coach. Obviously, you got Mahomes in the playoff experience and the Super Bowl win with Reid. So you've got that going for you. You've got Pat Mahomes, right? You got Kelsey. You've got that type of pedigree. You got the caliber of the experience. But then you've got the young hunger, the poise, the talent of Jalen Hurts. Now, Mahomes won the MVP. I think Jalen Hurts got robbed. Either way, you can't make a debate here. I mean, Mahomes obviously deserved it on the year. Statistically, looked better than Hurts by a bit, obviously in the passing yards and the touchdowns, not so much in the rushing. But again, you've got the experience of Mahomes, Reid. He gets, not as much experience with Sirianni and Hurts. That could favor, of course, the Chiefs. So what we're looking at here, either way, is a super entertaining Super Bowl with two young quarterbacks who are going to be, if not already, the faces of the NFL now that, Brady's retiring, Breeze is out of the league, Peyton Manning's gone. All those old goats are now retired. You've got these young guys who are doing really well, obviously doing well enough to get to the Super Bowl and perform at such a, amazing high level. You got to look at the new faces of the NFL and say, man, this is going to be a good game. All right. So let's talk about prediction here. Based on what I've talked about, again, you got to take a look at defense. I'm going to give that to the Eagles. The rushing attack, I think they're going to put more pressure on the Chiefs, obviously. And we got that potential lingering injury with Mahomes and the lack of mobility. So you're looking at the pass rush. It's going to go to the Eagles. The offensive line, to me, is a no-brainer. I'm going with the Eagles. And you got Jason Kelce in the center there protecting Jalen Hurts, giving him a lot of time. And even if they do get to Hurts, he's got the mobility to really move really well, get that extra yardage. And then receivers easily for me, I'm going Eagles here with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Receivers, quarterback, again, even with the lack of mobility, slight edge here to the Chiefs. Obviously, Mahomes and the experience there. Running game, Pacheco runs pretty hard, man. I'm still going to give the edge to Miles Sanders and the way that offensive line is. Slight edge there in the running game against, for the Eagles. So, yeah, we're talking defense. We're talking O-line. We're talking running game. We're talking pass rush. Everything is leaning towards the Eagles. Again, I'm just breaking this down. I'm thinking chess, right? I'm looking at the pieces on the board here. So I'm looking at a prediction. Now, there was a leak on the NFL script, leak saying that the Eagles are going to win this 37-34. So note that. It was a NFL script leak. I don't know where it came from. I got DM'd on this. I don't know. So 37-34 is what this script is saying. If that's true and the fix is in, everyone starts betting Eagles. Maybe the Chiefs win. I don't know, right? I predict a 31-27 win, maybe even 34-27 in the favor of the Eagles on this one, predicated on everything I've broken down. We've talked props. We've talked about talent. We've talked about O-line. We've talked about experience, right? Again, I'm looking at this, and then a big part of it is gut feeling. Who do you feel is going to win this? My gut's telling me the Eagles. Again, I could be wrong. And this is a really tough one to gauge. It's not as clear cut as like Peyton Manning's retiring or Ray Lewis is retiring, or it doesn't seem that obvious for me, even if the fix was in. Although the NFL's, referees are being criticized a lot for potentially, rigging the game or, having an impact on the outcome of the game. So we're going to have to be watching it carefully. All eyes are going to be on the refs and how this is going to play out. But again, looking at it, gut feeling, and again, what I've broken down, I am leaning the Eagles. I could be wrong, but it's very close to call. And that's why the odd makers have this at 1.5 point favorite towards the Eagles, probably based on all the information I just laid out here for you. So again, guys, in the comments, let me know who you think is going to win. I think 31-27 or possibly 34-27 in favor of the Eagles. Again, you are concerned, obviously, with Mahomes scoring a ton of points. But again, if you neutralize Travis Kelce and keep pressure on Mahomes, it's going to keep them off the field, kicking the ball a lot, getting the ball back into the hands of Jalen Hurts, and then them driving down the field, to accumulate points with the weapons that they have. So it's going to be exciting, no doubt about it. I'm happy that it worked out this way, even though I think the Bengals should have won that game if the refs didn't help. I still think the Chiefs and the Eagles make a better match because I still think the Chiefs are a better team than the Bengals were anyway. All right. So in the comments below, let me know who you think is going to win. Super Bowl is here. Drop your comments. Drop your bold prediction. Super Bowl outcome again, 31-27. Eagles win the Super Bowl based on my opinion, my prediction, and my analysis. Love to get your feedback, guys. Drop the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're rolling out fantasy football content year round. Appreciate you guys. I'm out.